When you're trapped on the other side of the galaxy taking the long trip home, you've been at it for years and there's seemingly no end in sight. Occasionally, every so often, you get a little burst of hope. We're going back to Star Trek Voyager this week, so you know what that means.
There's coffee in that nebula.
In Season 6, the USS Voyager finally got some real connection to home. It's an emotional moment for sure, and it comes thanks to an unlikely ally.
This is Lieutenant Reginald Barclay at Starfleet Command.
It's good to hear your voice, Lieutenant. We've been waiting a long time for this moment.
The feeling is mutual.
We're finding a path through the Voyager Season 6 episode Pathfinder. So welcome back to SYFY WIRE's Warp Factor Classic Blend. Engage! Prepare for a mission briefing, as well as a crossover of classic characters. This episode first debuted in 1999. Very good year for me, but doesn't matter. But if you've never seen it, it's new to you. All crew to spoiler stations, but because 1999, yellow alert! We begin, surprise, on Earth with Lieutenant Reginald Barclay. He meets with Counselor Deanna Troi to discuss his work on the Pathfinder project, which has the goal of communicating with the wayward USS Voyager. Shocker! Barclay has become obsessed. How obsessed? He names his cat Neelix. But the cat gives good briefings. Admiral Paris is visiting soon, and Barclay is set on getting his plan to create an artificial wormhole to work.
Reg, you're dreaming again.
He declines his commander's invitation to go out into the real world and spends time on the holodeck instead with the crew of Voyager. He plays poker with Chakotay, B'Elanna Torres, Harry Kim, and Tom Paris, and they all love him. They love me too, but that doesn't matter. Starfleet is aware of Voyager's situation because the EMH was briefly transferred across the stars a couple seasons prior. Their intention is to deploy the Midas array, which will be able to send communications but not receive them.
There may be a way to establish two-way communication with Voyager.
Barclay wants it two-way, no way else, blabs to Admiral Paris about his wormhole, and then gets uppity.
I think we're forgetting that there are 150 people stranded in the Delta Quadrant.
I have a son on that ship, Lieutenant.
The Admiral has to remind Barclay that his own son, Tom Paris, is on board Voyager. Barclay retreats back to the holodeck Voyager, which sends up red flags in the present to Troi, who is worried that Reg has relapsed into his holodeck addiction.
This isn't a relapse of my holo addiction.
It sent red flags up to Barclay's commander and Admiral Paris, too, who take him off the project. Admiral Paris agrees to review Barclay's plan, but Barclay tells Troi that the Admiral just wanted to be rid of him. Not true, but Barclay doesn't know that.
So the meeting went well.
No. It didn't. Not at all.
Troi decides to ask Captain Picard for temporary leave from the Enterprise in order to help Reg through all of this stuff. Soon enough, Reg goes rogue and sends a micro wormhole to the supposed location of the real Voyager, as well as a message.
Voyager, do you hear me?
He then gives merry chase to a security team through the holodeck Voyager before he is stopped. Over on the real Voyager, 7 of 9 tells Neelix that he has no career in singing.
I've concluded that teaching you to sing is an inefficient use of my time.
Before detecting Barclay's work, Captain Janeway is on the scene, and though only part of the message was received, she responds immediately. Barclay is being taken away, but Admiral Paris shows up and says he thinks the plan is worth an attempt, not realizing that Reg has already done it, right before he got there. Barclay apologizes, and then Captain Janeway's voice comes through the comm.
We're transmitting our ship's logs.
With temporary communication established, Janeway sends logs, reports, personal messages, and more to Starfleet. They in turn send messages and info on new technologies that may help. Janeway praises her crew, Tom Paris included, and the transmission ends. But Admiral Paris makes it clear that Project Voyager has just begun. The Voyager crew gathers in the mess hall, and 7 tells them that they can look forward to more communication with Earth thanks to some hyper-subspace tech that was sent in the messages. They all discuss Barclay, and Tom makes a toast honoring the newest honorary member of the Voyager crew, Reginald Barclay, whoever you are. Troy congratulates Barclay before taking her leave. He thanks her and reveals that he's dating his commander's sister-in-law. Her name? Hope. That's nice. I once knew a girl named Hope. Except, not really. I might. I could meet a girl named Hope. You don't know.
Look at his eyes uncovered!
Does Pathfinder have plenty of secrets and references to uncover? Can Carol Marcus cook?
Can I cook or can't I?
A big yes to both questions. This episode is obviously a big return for the character of Reginald Barclay, played by Dwight Schultz,
I'll be right there.
who recurred many times as the character in Star Trek The Next Generation and had a cameo in Star Trek First Contact. It is also a return for Deanna Troi, played by Marina Sirtis, who agreed to appear in the episode without reading the script. She knew it would involve Barclay, and that's all she needed to know. Though it was a completely different series, all of her scenes were with Schultz, none were with the Voyager cast, so it felt a bit like going back in time for her. The Pathfinder project follows up on the events of the Voyager episode Message in a Bottle, the Andy Dick episode, where the EMH is brought to Starfleet. The Doctor met a holographic version of Barclay before in the episode Projections, but he fails to mention this at the end of this episode, at the end of Pathfinder. Maybe he forgot. Barclay's love/obsession/issues with holodecks are nothing new, being a major part of his debut TNG episode Holo Pursuits. The Holo program shown here contains one of the only instances in all of Star Trek where the holodeck safeties actually work. Hologram B'Elanna Torres shoots a hologram phaser at a real security officer, and it has no effect. Thankfully for everyone, Moriarty, evil Bond villain Cisco, and dark gunslinger Data decline to join the party. Dr. Noah. Not only does the episode contain two characters from TNG and also references Captain Picard, it also makes a reference to Deep Space Nine when Barclay receives some information from the station.
I've been going over the interstellar phenomena forecast from Deep Space Nine.
The Breen attack on Earth, which happened in the DS9 episode The Changing Face of Evil, has taken place before this episode, but the destruction of San Francisco is not seen here in any of the wide shots, so Starfleet must have cleaned it up. Or behind the scenes, they just reuse shots. Exteriors of Starfleet headquarters are the same as they were in the DS9 episode Homefront. An even weirder point of interest is the photo of Tom Paris that sits on Admiral Paris's desk. It depicts Paris actor Robert Duncan McNeil, but it is a photo of him playing the one-off character Nick Locarno from the TNG episode The First Duty. Completely different character, but I guess his father didn't notice? Who knows? The reasons for Barclay leaving the Enterprise E aren't fully explained here. Everyone was jumping ship, so maybe he saw the writing on the wall. But if he has left and Troy has not, this episode will certainly take place between the films Star Trek Insurrection and Star Trek Nemesis. Troy leaves the Enterprise at the end of Nemesis, but that movie also features Janeway, promoted to Admiral, back in the Alpha Quadrant. Both DS9 and Voyager had finished their runs by that point. Both Barclay and Admiral Paris would be seen again when, spoilers, Voyager finally makes it back home to Earth in the series finale, Endgame. Admiral Paris was played by veteran actor Richard Hurd, who recently passed away. He was fantastic in this role, which is no surprise. He is missed.
Earl Grey never fails.
Earl Grey never fails. And Pathfinder doesn't fail with classic quotes and exchanges. Voyager's first real contact with Starfleet was an insanely emotional moment, and it still is. Everyone involved performs the hell out of it, with Kate Mulgrew killing it, as always, with the line,
It's good to hear your voice, Lieutenant. We've been waiting a long time for this moment.
The entire exchange that follows is a gem, but the ending gives me chills every time I watch it.
This is Admiral Paris.
Hello, sir.
How are your people holding up?
Very well. They're an exemplary crew. Your son included.
Tell him I miss him.
And I'm proud of him.
He heard you, Admiral.
The wormhole is collapsing.
I want you all to know we're doing everything we can to bring you home.
We appreciate it, sir. Keep a docking bay open for us. We hope to see you.
They're already home, but I always keep a docking bay open anyway. Earl Grey never fails. There's coffee in that nebula.
I've been practicing.
In your case, practice is irrelevant. Your vocal cords are incapable of producing basic diatonic tones, not to mention your rhythmic shortcomings.
Will the events of this episode find a path to the future of Trek? It's certainly possible that Reg Barclay could find his way onto future seasons of Star Trek Picard, and who knows, with his love of everything holographic, some version of him could still exist in the distant future to have some fun with the Discovery crew. If the EMH comes with him in other series, then so be it. Twist my arm. Bring back the EMH. Seriously, bring back the EMH. Bring him back. I love him. Bring him back. Speaking of doctors who could return. Crusher Watch! Crusher Watch! Not in the episode. We got Deanna Troi here, so let's not be greedy. Come on. Come on!
Hailing frequencies open.
Our hailing frequencies are now open. Be sure to tell us your thoughts on Pathfinder, an episode that was requested several times. And as always, shout out episodes you'd like to see us cover in the future. One viewer wrote about recently returning to their hometown and watching nightly TNG in syndication, going on to write, quote, Crusher makes a very small appearance. Me, Crusher what? Wait, no, we're not doing this. End quote. No judgment from me either way, just admiration. Another viewer writes, does the reflection in his glasses drive anyone else crazy? A big yes to that question. Yes, it drives me crazy. We're working on it. I'd love to go sans glasses, but I need them to see, and also for the outrageous affectation. We're working on it. We're on it. Best guys are on it. Top men. Reg Barclay had issues, but that hardly means that he had nothing to offer. Time and again, Barclay proved to be a valuable member of the team, flaws and all. He's not broken, but even if he was broken, doesn't mean worthless. Here's to you, Reg, the latest honorary crew member of both the USS Voyager and Warp Factor. Blue skies, sir.